All right, I'm Moses Wolder, and welcome to the overtime edition of Gloves, and we got a great show for you. But first, got to introduce these two fine gentlemen. Greg Buchanan.
Hey, Moses.
And Rod Kirby. You are the Lloydminster football president.
Yep.
And
Hi,
it's
Moses.
awesome to have you on. And
you.
You know what? We're going to talk about football. How about that? Kick it off, and we'll start with you, Rod. I want to talk about the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins. Now, it looked like a game. Now, you're a coach. You understand what it means to play clock management, especially if you have a lead and you want to stop the other team that's desperate to score. Now, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but chances are you do not want to give them any timeouts. Well, it just so happened, Joe Philbin, the coach of the Dolphins, while up and had a good chance to win, we'll just put it at that. Green Bay, just desperate to get down the field and score, ended up getting 2 breaks, 2 timeouts called by the Dolphins, which makes no sense for a team that is winning and the team that's desperate to score. So in this case, and of course you saw that great play, the improvisation from Aaron Rodgers, which led to another first down, which also was key to the next play, which was the game-winning touchdown. Guys, who deserves more credit for this Green Bay win? Is it Aaron Rodgers and his craftiness, or Joe Philbin of the Dolphins by basically handing them more time to design these plays?
Well, Rodgers, the guy's a great quarterback. But as a coach, you do not call timeouts on defense. It's the NFL. They tackle the guy in bounds. It's going to take 20 seconds to get in their playoff. The clock doesn't stop. And they have you give the offense, especially Aaron Rodgers, a chance. Give him 30 seconds to think about what he's going to do for a play. Give me a break. The Dolphins, their coach screwed up. Should not have called a timeout. But having said that, Aaron Rodgers is not the first time he's pulled off a miracle. So
I can see in the Miami case that they call one timeout just to set your defense. One timeout, and that's even iffy. But to call 2, that's, you know what, you let down your team. And that's the thing where coaches always want to hold the players accountable. Well, he better look in the mirror and hold himself accountable.
All right, moving on to the American League Championship Series. You have the Kansas City Royals up 2-0. The game got rained out last night, playing right now. But guys, you look at both Kansas City and Baltimore. Royals up 2-0 in the series. Can Baltimore come back, or is it just fate seems to be on the side of Kansas City?
Well, you know what? It does look like it's fate. The baseball gods are smiling on Kansas City right now. But at the same time, if you looked at this season, Baltimore, everybody was sitting back going, Baltimore's going to fail. Baltimore just can't keep going like this. Baltimore won't win the AL East because you got the Yankees and you got the Jays and you got Boston. You got all those teams in there. There's no way they're going to hold on. But you know what? They did. So if any team has a chance to come back and win this one, possibly Baltimore, because everybody's been counting them out since day one.
yeah, I don't think it's over by any means. Like Greg said, the baseball gods seem to be smiling on the Royals right now, and they seem like a team of destiny, so-called. But the Orioles got a great baseball team, so I don't think that series is even close to being over right now.
Okay, guys. How about this? The Cleveland Browns, 3-2, very impressive. You look at some of even the games they lost. They were down to the wire, or a few mistakes would have changed things around. This team could have been a 5-1 at least. But nevertheless, 3-2, still a good record, and creeping up into those standings, perhaps, maybe into a wild card spot. Now, hear this: their next 3 games: at Jacksonville, at home against Oakland, at home against Tampa Bay. Those are 3 winnable games. This team could be 6-2 at the halfway point of the season. Are they legit contenders? Not for the division. That might be tough, but for at least a wild card spot.
Well, they have, like you just said, their next 3 games is against, pardon me, but soft opponents. Their schedule, for the most part, you give a couple of games up against them. That's been a pretty soft schedule. Let's see how they do when they play against some of the beasts, and they haven't really played that many beasts.
Well, look at their schedule down the road. They got the Colts, Bengals, Panthers, and Ravens in their final 4 games of the season.
So
mix in the Texans and the Bengals right after the Bucks, Jags, and Raiders. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, let's see how they fare after those games, and then we'll see if the Cleveland Browns are.
What do you say, Rod? Do you think they still have at least?
Well, they have a legitimate chance of getting a wild card spot, but they're going to probably have to finish 10-6 at least 10-6 to make the wild card spot. So. Like Greg said, it's going to come down, since playing Cincy twice, it's going to come down to that. And they need to get a split with Cincinnati for sure if they're going to have a shot at that. They're going to be in tough.
But you look at it, outside of Baltimore, don't you think that the division is right for the picking? Like a game, they should have They split rightfully with Pittsburgh. You look at Cincinnati; they're no good. I say this in terms of the combination when you have Andy Dalton and his coach. I can't think of his name right now. Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis.
So you look at those two guys. The dynamic is not necessarily there. There's a team that leaves gaps and for other teams to come back. You saw the game against Carolina. That game should have not have been a tie. That should have been a win for Cincinnati. But yet they keep shooting themselves in the foot. So doesn't that say that, you know what, maybe there's a chance that Cleveland could sneak in and make it?
I guess there's always a chance.
Yeah, there's always a chance.
There's always a chance. Doesn't matter who you are.
I think Baltimore's guaranteed playoff team, I
Yep.
would think. Cincinnati, I still think, they've made the playoffs the last couple of years, and they're a better team now than they were the last couple of years, so I think Cleveland's going to be in tough to get that wild card spot.
Okay, very quickly, 49ers, Rams. What do you make of the game last night, the Monday Nighter? The 49ers pulling it out, even though they made some mistakes that pretty much gave the Rams an opportunity to come back and win it, or at least tie it.
Yeah, the Rams are the Rams. They're playing with a second, third string quarterback, who, mind you, had a good game last weekend, and he started off good last night. But 49ers are a very good football team. They have quite a few injuries right now, and but they're still in a class above the Rams. So the outcome didn't really surprise me, and I expect the 49ers will get tougher as the season goes on too.
You know, the 49ers they're a good football team. They did a heck of a season last year, but at the same time, they're a team that's learning to win, and they're a team that sometimes they're complacent and think that we have the skill, we have in a lot of positions, we have a lot better skill than some of the teams we're playing against, but they have to learn you just can't show up. You have to still play the game because that team across from you doesn't really care what your record was last year. They care what they're doing right now.
Well, they're 4-2 right now, the 49ers are, and look to have turned that ship, and maybe Harbaugh's kind of saved his job out there. But no jobs lost here. Greg, as always, thank you.
Thanks, Moses.
And Rod, pleasure having you on once again.
It was nice to be here. Thanks, Moses.
All right, and thank you for joining us on the OT edition of Gloves. Tune into our show every Tuesday night on CITL and return to our Facebook page for more of this action. In the meantime, we will see you in 7 days.